Going on, everybody? I want to thank you all for joining me today. We are here, we're live, and if you can hear and see me clearly, please drop a one in the live chat so that we can get today's stream started. And as I'm waiting for the ones to come in, as usual, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit that like button. That is the most important thing that you can do for me on this channel. That will assist in making sure that the YouTube notifications go out to those that are subscribed to the channel. And I will definitely need your help with that today, because if you're part of the text messaging service notification gang, which you can be a part of that by texting TD hip hop to number 33222. That's texting TD hip hop to number 33222. Today, I did not send the text notifications out. I didn't send them out today. So if you wondering how come I didn't get it, it's because I didn't send them out. So please hit the like button so that the notifications for YouTube do go out. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed already, hit the bell notification next to the subscribe button. And also, lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platform. So now that the introduction is out the way, I still don't see any ones coming in yet. Please drop a one in the live chat if you can hear and see me clearly. And that way we can get through this stream and we will head on into the next stream on Just Talking with TD and Rob at 11:15 Pacific Standard Time. Great. The ones are coming in so we can get today's show started. So as you saw by the title of today's thumbnail, right? You saw the title of today's thumbnail showed that Venezuelan migrants in Chicago are fleeing back to Venezuela. Yes, that's a thing that is actually happening right now. The migrants of Venezuela, right, many of which who crossed the border illegally, they're actually going back to Venezuela because the freebies are running dry. And I want to get into that right now because this really exposes a lot as it pertains to why so many people are actually coming here and flocking to Chicago, right? You hear a lot of this talk of I just want to work, I just want to get work, I just want to work. But even when work is being found, if the work is too hard and certain conditions that they're living under aren't the best, right? It's a lot better than where they came from, but it's not a five-star hotel for free. Then you will see that many would rather go back to their homeland than stay here in the US and quote, work. So we're going to get into that right now. And what I want to do is pull up this article here. Here we go, from the Chicago Tribune, titled Migrant Family Journeys Back to Venezuela, More Leaving Chicago as Winter Looms. The American Dream Doesn't Exist Anymore. And like I said, the reason that so many are saying the American dream doesn't exist anymore is literally because of laziness. It's literally because of laziness, and the freebies are drying up. So as we're getting into this article, please hit the like button. And now let's get started. So I want to scroll down because I want to get to this one gentleman's particular story. And if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, is Cason, right? Cason is the name of the individual and whose story that we will be following today. So let's jump into his story. Cason says, and I quote, "The American dream doesn't exist anymore," said Cason as he laid on a blanket on the bare floor of the station the afternoon before they left. "There's nothing here for us," he added. Migrants said they are realizing the city is at a backbreaking point. Not only is there no more space in shelters, they also acknowledge that some residents in Chicago oppose the opening of more shelters for them. Castellon said that despite the dangerous trek to get here, often begging for money and sleeping in the streets to cross several borders, the journey had not been worth it. His attempt to settle in the city failed. He said he never felt comfortable in a shelter. Oh, really? Would you have liked a five-star hotel? My apologies. He said he never felt comfortable in a shelter, and that the hot meals, stipends, and good jobs he'd heard about from other migrants never materialized. So, as I just read to you right now, word of mouth has gotten around. The advertisement is working. These folks are being told that if you come to Chicago, it's a lick. They got stipends for you, free housing, free money, good paying jobs, all that. It's raining manna out the sky. Come to Chicago. That's where it's at. But it didn't materialize for him the way he believed it would, or did it? And maybe he was just being, I don't know, a little lazy and not wanting to work. Well, let's find out. Let's find out. As the story continues, right? The father didn't consider that once in the country, the family wouldn't be granted asylum immediately and or even get a work permit while they wait. It could have been misinformation, he said, or that the benefits that those who arrived in the city before him are no longer available because the amount of people now here. But even after hearing that the temporary protected status program was expanded and the process to get job permits could be accelerated, he decided he was exhausted and chose not to wait. He was just so tired. Wow. He goes on to say, and I quote, "We didn't know things would be this hard," he said. "I thought the process was faster." He thought the process of getting freebies, handouts, and a whole lot of entitlements that he did not work for, nor has the lineage of his family put in on, those entitlements, the things that he felt like he deserved, they're not coming quick enough. I find that very interesting. Let's carry on with this story as it continues to read as such. But while some migrants are choosing to leave, many more will arrive every week. And that's what many of us have to consider and keep in mind. So this isn't necessarily a time for those in Chicago to celebrate too much, because it is a revolving door of so-called migrants that are coming in and out of the city, as the article details. And what can be considered a revolving door for taxpayers, for example, Catholic Charities of Chicago is using Illinois' taxpayer money to transport the migrants who want to return to Texas or to other states, while simultaneously the Catholic Charities of San Antonio and the city of Denver are using federal taxpayer money to send new migrants to Chicago. So like I said, we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, because this is a revolving door that's happening, where you have many who are leaving. Some are going to different parts of the country. Many are even going back home to where they came from. But you do have those that are still coming into the country. But now let's get back into the story of the gentleman that we were originally discussing, right? So let's jump back into this. The article continues to read, Cason said Chicago wasn't what they expected when they arrived in June, but the father was determined to succeed, he said. The family was first taken to the First District Police Station, where they stayed for a couple of weeks before getting transferred to Wright College with hundreds of other asylum seekers. The family lived there for about a month before moving into a house. Okay, let's slow it down now. I want to slow it down now, because now we're getting into what I said earlier concerning this isn't really about wanting to work hard, as we keep hearing the narrative, because we all know you Black Americans, you don't work hard, right? But this isn't all about them wanting to work. I just want to work and have an opportunity and work hard. No, a lot of this is just about, let me come up and get these freebies and we'll see how things go from there. Okay, so pay attention to everything that I'm going to be saying moving forward as we detail and chronicle all of the free stuff that he got, but apparently the freebies that he received just wasn't enough. And as I continue on, there are 295 of you all here in the live stream right now. Please hit that like button. That is extremely important. I didn't send the text notifications out today, so by hitting that like button, it will ensure that those subscribed to the channel will get their text notifications. Now let's dive into, or we'll get their YouTube notifications. Now let's get back into this article, right? And let's get back into this man's story. The family lived there for about a month before moving into a house with another migrant who was renting an apartment through a city voucher program that offers up to $15,000 for 6 months, for up to 6 months of rental assistance. I kind of botched that a little bit. I just want to read that last part again. The family lived there for about a month before moving into a house with another migrant who was renting an apartment through a city voucher program that offers up to $15,000 for up to 6 months of rental assistance. But when the rental assistance vanished, neither could afford rent. So they were once again homeless, the father said. They eventually met someone who offered to rent them an apartment for $750. They managed to afford it because Cason had found a job in construction where he was getting paid cash under the table. But the work was heavy and the pay was not enough, he said, so he left. Wait a minute, hold on, time out. What happened to all of that hard working that I hear so much about, that they say Black Americans don't do? So this man went from a house that was being rented out on free money up to $15,000 for 6 months, a voucher, right? Once the money ran dry in that 6-month period, he was able to find an apartment that he most likely didn't actually qualify for on paper as it pertains to applications, because his paperwork, his own personal paperwork, isn't in order, right? But he was still able to find housing, an apartment for his family for $750 a month. And on top of that, found a construction job that afforded him the ability to be able to pay that money of $750 a month. But because the work was too hard and he didn't feel like he was getting paid enough, he said, I'd rather quit. He quit. This man has a family, ladies and gentlemen. He has a family. He found a home for them. He found a job. The job afforded him the ability to stay in that apartment. But because he thought the work was too hard and he wasn't getting paid enough for the work that he was doing, he chose to quit. And what did that result into? It resulted this individual putting his family back out on the street. Let's carry on with this story, because this is just, it's crazy. This is crazy. And this goes to show, this really needs to put that hard work narrative to bed. I'm really not interested in hearing that anymore. I'm really sick and tired of this hard work narrative. Like I said, a lot of folks, Chicago is just a lick. It's just a come up, right? Coming to America is just a quick come up. This isn't really about working hard. It's just seeing, can I get in where I fit in, and we'll move from there, right? But let's carry on. And I'll get to the super chats in just a moment. I want to thank you all who have shown support to the channel today. I deeply appreciate it. I'm going to get to the super chats in just a moment. Please hit that like button. Now let's get back into this story here, right? So he quit. Wow. Okay. So the story goes, unable to pay rent, remember, because he quit, unable to pay rent, the family returned to the first district station, where they waited for about 2 weeks before packing their belongings, mostly collected through donations, and headed back to Venezuela. As the patriarch, get this, as the patriarch, he said, he felt powerless, not being able to provide for his family and daughter. He said, how many more months of living in the streets will it take? What? No, no more. It's better that I leave. At least I have my mother back home, he said angrily. This man literally is fleeing back home to mama. It's better to live back in Venezuela with mama. This was actually produced in the Chicago Tribune. And this is supposed to be what's tugging your heartstrings right now, to say we need to just grant everybody amnesty and just give them all citizenship so that they can work hard, because we know you Black Americans don't want to work hard. You're lazy, right? And that's why we have so many jobs open up, because you guys don't want to work. And these guys like Cason, they want to work compared to you guys who don't want to work. That's what the narrative is, at least. This man literally said, I'm going back home to mama in Venezuela. And this really makes you question the idea of how bad things are in Venezuela. It really makes you question that. And I'm not one to sit up here and make things up and say, oh, everything is great over there in Venezuela. But it really makes you wonder, okay, well, how bad are things over there? Because I hear that it's pretty bad. I hear that it's a third world country, failed state. Inflation is through the roof. $1 American dollar is worth like 1,000,000 Venezuelan bucks, whatever their actual currency is called. But for things to be that bad over there, and for this man to have received as many free handouts as he did, and for him to squander all of it just to say, I didn't receive enough, and then have the audacity to say, how much longer am I going to have to live in the streets? That's crazy. He's asking that question as if someone did something to him when he arrived here. All he did was receive a bunch of free handouts and entitlements that he didn't deserve. He threw them away while having a family, and then is now looking to us for sympathy. I don't think so. I don't think so. Now let's get back into this article. Once again, I want to thank you all who are sending me super chats. I will get to it in a moment. And I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. It is deeply appreciated. It truly, truly is. But let's jump back into this article. We will get back to the super chats. And please hit that like button. That is extremely important. There are 446 of you all in here. Please hit that like button. I want to read that last part again about going back home to mama. How many more months of living in the street will it take? Wow. No more. It's better that I leave. At least I have my mother back home, he said angrily. That is insane. He said the family decided to seek asylum in the United States because of the extreme poverty in which they were living in Venezuela's authoritarian regime. But the trip was not worth it, he said. This is unbelievable. We just want to be home, he said. If we're going to be sleeping in the streets here, we'd rather be sleeping in the streets over there. I could understand that sentiment if this gentleman didn't receive as many free handouts and entitlements that he didn't deserve. I could accept that if that wasn't the case. The first few colder days influenced the family's decision to contact staff at Catholic charities, pressing for plane tickets that would put them closer to a border town to find a way back home. When they got the news that they had been approved and had their tickets in hand, Cason felt relieved, he said. The feeling of disappointment and impotency. Look at the words that he's using. The feelings of disappointment and impotency. If I understand the word impotency, what it means, isn't that like kind of like being emasculated? In no way, shape, form, or fashion was this man emasculated. He was literally handed everything that he needed to survive, get by, and thrive, and chose to squander it. And now it's telling you, how much longer am I going to have to live in the streets? And I feel so emasculated in this country, especially with all you Chicagoans who are being mean to me and you're not giving me enough. That is crazy. That is insane. Before we get back into the story, I have to give my thank yous. It's a must because I don't exist without you guys and everyone's support to this channel. So I just want to just go through those who've supported me. John Gullery says, sounds like they were looking for a free ride. What happened to pulling themselves up by their bootstraps? I 100% agree. I don't know. I mean, because, Black folks, we don't do that. We just complain and cry. Everybody else pulls themselves up by their bootstraps. By the sound of the story, I guess that's not the case. That's just, nonsensical propaganda. Right. Kay McLeod said, things have changed. Yes, they have. Seeking the Truth Ministry said, super. Oh, it's a super sticker. Thank you, Seeking the Truth Ministry. I appreciate you. And the 80% stated, we need to stop using the phrase black and brown. Can we address that? That's been addressed numerous times by a lot of different people. And I'm sure it will continue to be addressed. I want to thank you all who have supported the channel today. And also thank you, Trenton Makes on Cash App. Thank you very much. Now let's get back into the story as this is beginning to come to a close, right? Let's get back into it. So the feeling of disappointment and impotency that Cason felt is shared by many of the migrants. Oh, really? Said Brian Lozano, head of the volunteer group of the police station response team at the 1st District Station. Even though many, including Cason's family, are leaving, others still hope to eventually find shelter in hotel rooms, get access to public services and cash assistance, or live out the American dream. I thought it was very interesting that they said that. Others still hope to eventually find shelter in hotel rooms, 5-star hotel rooms, that is, get access to public services and cash assistance, or, we got to highlight that, or live out the American dream, or do that. Jose Noir, I know I'm saying that last name wrong, but Jose Noir decided to give Texas another shot and returned earlier this month after sleeping in a police station in Chicago and for more than 2 weeks. So Jose was here in Chicago, or he was in Chicago for what, maybe a little over 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And he said, hey, yo, no, I'm good. I'm gonna pack it up and let's head back to Texas with it, right? He came to Chicago, even though his family is in Houston, because the ticket was free, he said, and he wanted to see what the buzz was about. Can I read that one more time? Because that highlights so much of what we've been discussing. He came to Chicago, even though he has family in Houston, because the ticket was free. And he wanted to see what the buzz was all about. Jose was just trying to come up. Man, I heard it's popping in Chicago. They got all type of freebies going on in Chicago. I have family in Houston, but I got to see what it's hitting for in the Chi. I got to see what it's hitting for. And that's what he did. He came over to Chicago to see what it was hitting for. And it wasn't hitting for much by the time he got here. After 2 weeks, he said, I'm going back to Texas because I do have family in Houston. And I had that portion highlighted as well, where he stated that he has family in Houston, because this also flies in the face of something that I've been trying to stress to people, is that in Texas, what you're seeing with Governor Abbott, right? Governor Abbott is not coercing migrants to come to Chicago and New York, Denver, Washington, D.C., and all these other sanctuary cities like Los Angeles. He is not coercing anybody. When they cross the border and they end up in Texas, they have a choice. He's not making anybody come to any of these places. You have a choice. You can either stay in Texas, if that's what you so choose to do, as Jose could have done because he already has family there, or you can go see what the buzz is all about in Chicago, New York, Washington, D.C., Denver, and L.A. And if you want to go see what the buzz is all about, we'll give you a free bus ride to wherever you want to go. And when you get tired of being there, you'll get a free plane ticket to wherever you're trying to go to. Meanwhile, someone like myself who's trying to leave LA for the holiday, well, not trying, I am going to leave LA for the holidays. I can't go nowhere for free. I had to pay my way. And those holiday ticket prices for for a family of four, it was ugly how much we had to pay. You know, it was a couple G's. It was a couple of thousand. But my man Jose, yeah, he going back and forth from Texas to Chicago for free. But anyways, let's get back into this article. Wow. There are 548 of you all here in the live stream right now. Please hit that like button. It is extremely important that you do so. And thank you very much. Now let's hop back into this, right? Let's get into this. Like Castellon, he heard there was shelter, food, and other public benefits. That's not true, he said. It's not true. All those freebies, I couldn't find them. He grabbed a pink backpack, waved goodbye to Lonzo, and rushed into a white car that took him to O'Hare International Airport to board a plane back south. Mind you, he got that for free. Meanwhile, folks like you and me, and particularly me, if I want to board a plane back to Chicago, which I will be over the holidays, I literally had to pay thousands of dollars. It's crazy. It's just crazy. But with all that being said, that does it with today's stream. I really wanted to share that with you all today because that story is extremely important for us to look at and examine in the face of all of the BS narratives that we hear concerning how lazy people like you and me are and how hardworking others are. And we're clearly seeing that that's not true. And that so many of those that are coming here just looking for the American dream and I just want to work, they're finding it, even work under the table, getting cash. And when they find it, get apartments, get stipends, $15,000 for 6 months, right? All type of cash assistance, a hot meal, a job that pays them enough to afford rent. Those like Castellon are quitting and they're packing it up and going back to Venezuela because the freebies that they did receive, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. I wanted more freebies. I wanted more free stuff, and I didn't get it in Chicago. And I hear what's going on in New York right now. It's pretty congested over there. So you know what? I'm just going to pack it up and go back to Venezuela. But the narrative will still persist that folks like you and me are the ones that are lazy, looking for handouts, want entitlements that we don't deserve. And those others are the one working hard. Clearly, that's not the case. It's all false anti-Black racist propaganda as far as I'm concerned. And I wanted to just take a moment to expose that today. And I've completed the mission. So with all that being said, I want to thank you all for joining me. This was a great stream. It was a really good turnout. There are 562 of you all here in the live stream right now. Make sure you stick around to the very end of the stream because you will be redirected to my second YouTube channel called Just Talking with TD and Rob, which is hosted by me and Rob from Blacklight Revelations 2 on that channel. It's definitely a lot more laid back where we touch more on cultural things and all the cultural stuff that's going on in the world. It's a lot more laid back version of myself where I'm not so serious. I'm a little bit more jokey. And what we'll be touching on today, I'll just give you all the thumbnail. Here's the thumbnail of today's show that will be getting started in 30 minutes on the next channel that you'll be redirected to. Everybody's getting exposed. Okay, everyone's getting exposed. Candace Owens is out here looking crazy right now. Will Smith and Dwayne Martin is out here looking crazy. Diddy is in trouble. It's looking bad out here for a lot of these folks, man. And that's what me and Rob are going to get into today. We're going to get into that and a host of other topics. And we have a really good time joking around and having fun on that channel. So I will see you all over there. And lastly, if you are watching this replay past, I'll say 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you won't be redirected to that live stream anymore because it will be put on members only. But we do upload clips on that channel as well. So even if you missed a stream, subscribe to that channel and you will be able to see clips from the live stream. So I will catch you all there live in 30 minutes, just talking with TD and Rob. Hang tight. You will be redirected to that channel. And thank you all for joining me today. And thank you all for all of you who contributed to today's show. I deeply appreciate it. Have a great morning.